Hello, it is Nick.
I'm Mike.
From the Run Testers. We are here today at Battersea Park for the RunThrough 10K. There's a 5K as well. We're both doing 10K, right?
Yep.
And this is going to be both of our first race in the Asics Metaspeed Sky, kind of the new big super shoe from Asics. That's the bottom of them there. I've only done one run in the shoe so far, which is my shakeout run yesterday, so I'm really excited to see how they go. Mike, you've done a bit more, haven't you?
I've done 3, yeah, not more since the first clip video, but yeah, looking forward to racing it.
And this is only like your second race in a carbon shoe full stop, right?
It is, yeah. So who knows how it's going to go.
Yeah, and first in because you did the Hoka, so this is probably the more top tier super shoe as opposed to something like the Hoka Rocket X. So it's be interesting to see how you go. I've done loads of racing like Vaporfly and that, really excited to see how these go. Hoping for PB today. PB, Mike?
Maybe sub 40 again. I'll be happy with.
Nice.
Hopefully, yeah.
Brilliant. We've got 4 laps to do. There's a dog running around. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Anyway, we'll check in after the race, let you know how we got on. So that went very well. Yeah, ran a nice PB. I think I just snuck under 32:30. Previous PB was 32:50 something. So I think, yeah, probably knocked about 30 seconds off there. I mean, my previous PB was quite a long time ago. I've done, I think, over a year, about a year and a half. So I was hoping for PB today, but yeah, it was nice how good it felt out there. I'd probably say, surprisingly comfortable actually from about 4 to 7K. Where you kind of know in a 10K whether you can do well or not. So the shoes are really good. They're not maybe as soft as something like the Vaporfly, but there's a lot of kind of return and bounce there. Should be said, I'm not the kind of Asics' prototypical runner for the Metaspeed Sky. I'm a shuffly runner, a heel strike. They say it's meant to be designed for these kind of big bounding, long stride runners to increase their stride length when they run quick. I increase my cadence and my stride length a bit, but certainly felt like they worked for me today. It felt like a really nice shoe to cruise at that kind of race pace, even quite a fast race pace like a 10K. So yeah, early on, I'm very impressed by them. If the Metaspeed Edge, which is supposed to be more suited to my type of running, is even better, then that'd be fantastic. But these feel like a classic super shoe, which the Meta Racer didn't. In that kind of, they've got that soft kind of landing, not as soft as Vaporfly, but still soft, and then that rebound from the plate and the kind of very springy foam. So yeah, they're let's say Asics' first proper super shoe, I certainly say, and I really enjoyed running them today. Get some Mike's kind of post-race reaction, and then we'll do some more back in our various studios.
So I ran a 40-minute 10K, so not quite as quick as Nick and slightly slower than what I did when I race tested the Hoka Rocket X, which was my first carbon plate shoe that I've raced in. This is me stepping up to a super shoe for the first time. And what I will say is, when I was running quick or running quickest in that race, the shoe felt great. And it's almost like everything kind of clicks into gear. The cushioning felt great. I think that kind of full length carbon plate brings a kind of nice controlled, stable feel as well. Now, there were a couple of moments where I slightly dropped off my pace, and it was almost like you're kind of disengaging everything that makes a shoe great to run quick in, even slightly. And it started to feel a little bit heavy for me, which is weird to say in a kind of light shoe. It almost felt like I was dragging a little bit, and it was really around the back of the shoe where I kind of felt that. So that kind of unsettled me at periods in that race, and it was kind of a little bit of an issue for me. I just think it's a shoe that is about maintaining that speed throughout your whatever distance you're running. And for me, when I kind of slightly dropped off on those moments, it didn't feel as enjoyable to run in. I think the upper as well, it's something I kind of mentioned in the first video. I wasn't sure about it. I think on my narrow foot, I think I would have preferred something a little bit more locked in. I think maybe it was a little bit too spacious up front. I would have preferred something a bit more kind of closed in. And it's the same deal with the laces as well. I think you need something, or I needed something that I could really kind of wrap a bit closer to the top of my foot. And I don't know if these laces and maybe this kind of design did that for me on my foot anyway. A complaint I don't really have is the outsole. The outsole was great. It felt great to run. It was generally a dry surface. We kind of missed the rain, or the worst of the rain on that day. There was a couple of little bends in the course. It's a 4-lap course, and it was kind of nice to kind of zip around those kind of short bends that are in the course. So for me, yeah, when you're running quick, or when I was running quick, it felt great. When I slightly eased off, it didn't feel as good, and yeah, for me it was enough to kind of slightly unsettle me. And yeah, I still have question marks about the upper. I don't absolutely love the upper. Some people are going to love it. I don't think it 100% works for me. So definitely some good things for me in my race test, some not so good things. But definitely a nice quick shoe to run in at that distance, or in a 10k race.
So back in the studio, the first thing I'm just going to quickly say is that this is just going to be our race review of the shoe. We already have a first run review up from Mike, plus we're going to do our full review down the line where we're going to dive in a lot more into the kind of the tech in the shoe, kind of talk about that a bit more. But so this is just going to talk about my first impressions from that 10k. Also going to clear up my timing fiasco where I thought I'd run 32:25 or something, but final time was 32:32. I forgot because I was faffing around with two watches at the start of the race that I started the one I used a little bit late. Always wearing two watches, always testing something, but it does make you look like an idiot on the start line trying to tap two watches, and it cost me 4 seconds or so this time. But yeah, 32:32, very pleased. Still a big PB down from 32:56. Very pleasing symmetry to 32:32. Can't argue with that. And yeah, I was very, very impressed with the shoe, as I kind of said in my kind of post-run reaction video there. For me, this is coming in right in the top tier of carbon racers from this kind of early impression of the shoe. I've got the Nikes in there, the Saucony Endorphin Pros in there. I think the New Balance Fuel Cell RC Elite is almost in there. For short races, I think it is, maybe not the full marathon. And I have the Adidas Adios a little bit behind them, but that might just be, doesn't suit me as well as some of these other shoes. It's certainly a big step up for Asics in terms of as a performance super shoe compared to something like the Meta Racer, which was a nice shoe, quite a low profile, cool looking, fast shoe, but nothing like this. This is this FF Turbo to me feels like a real super foam, which is always key I think in these shoes, and having the full length plate in there obviously makes a big difference as well. The turbo foam is soft. It's much softer than kind of the stuff in the Meta Racer. It's got a lot of rebound. It firms up really nicely when you start pushing the pace. It hasn't got any kind of sloppiness, which I was a little bit worried about having used the Nova Blast. I like the Nova Blast, but it could be a bit sloppy. The plate's in there here as well, and the foam, I don't know, it is a little bit different, and it doesn't kind of feel like you're losing any kind of stability. Like the race I did yesterday was on a a looped course, 4 kind of loops for the 10k, and there was 4 sharp corners each turn. Well, not the sharpest corners in the world, but I took them with no trouble at all, no worries at all about stability in this shoe for me. Where it feels like in terms of super shoes, it's certainly more towards things like the Vaporfly and the kind of the Adios and the New Balance than something like the Endorphin Pro, which is a bit firmer, kind of more smooth rolling tech. There is a bit of that going on here, but you do feel more kind of that softness and then rebound from the foam. And like I say, when you start to up the pace, you start to push it a bit harder, there's a little bit more kind of firmness and responsiveness in there. So when Asics kind of released this shoe in the Metaspeed Edge, there was all this talk about them being aimed at different style of runners. I have to say I was never entirely convinced by that idea on paper, and that remains the case. Like I say, I'm a shuffly runner who increases their cadence when they run fast. My stride length increases a little bit as well, but I do increase my cadence probably from about kind of easy runs at around 175, 180 to 200 for something like a 10k, and I felt the shoe suited me really well. And Asics kind of mentioned that all kind of previous super shoes were like this, and they've all suited me quite well. I think it's fair to say, I really enjoyed running them. I certainly feel like I've got a lot out of them, and that's the case with the Metaspeed Sky. So I don't necessarily hugely buy into this idea that it's for certain kinds of runners. It's just a really good shoe, and I think a lot of runners will benefit from it. So I will say, if you are a shuffler like me, don't be entirely deterred from buying the Metaspeed Sky. Also, the rubber on the back here, really does end quite short. It's a bit similar to what you see on the Vaporfly and the Adios, with these kind of lines running up the side, but not extending to the back. As a heel striker, I was worried about really nailing this stuff here, this kind of more exposed foam, but it gripped perfectly well. And there's a little bit of wear and tear there, kind of similar to what I get on the Vaporfly and the Alphafly myself. I get little patches come off because of the way I land, but doesn't affect the performance of the shoe in any way with the Nikes, and I don't think it's going to affect it here. So yeah, shuffly heel striker, not at all what perhaps the shoe is aimed for, but certainly really loved running in it, and the performance was there for me over that 10k. So yeah, really like the shoe, very impressed with it early on. Going to do a lot more tests and do some long runs in it. I think it will hold up very well to those, maybe even be better for that than it is for kind of these short distance races. The Metaspeed Edge hopefully will come and get our hands on, and that should suit me even more, but I'm not sure if it will. I love these kind of high stack, softer shoes like this. I think the Metaspeed Edge will probably be a slightly firmer, lower profile shoe, so very excited to try it and test it out against this. But certain early impressions of the Sky are this is a really top class super shoe that I can't wait to do some longer runs in it and see if that kind of, I still continue to love it after that. But yeah, after one run, and then after one quick shakeout and then running a PB in it, you're always going to like a shoe a fair bit. Plenty more testing to come, but it's certainly a shoe I would consider, you know, up there with the best super shoes out there at the moment, based on these early impressions.
So my race test verdict on the Asics Metaspeed Sky is that it is a nice quick shoe to run in, and it really is about when you're running quick, that's where it feels best. As soon as you slightly ease off, at least for me, when you slightly ease off, you lose the essence of what makes this shoe a great performance shoe. I also think with the upper, maybe I would prefer personally something a little bit more locked in, a little less roomy and spacey than what you get on the on this shoe. But I guess it may be better suited when you're running those longer distances and you're trying to maintain that speed over that distance, and you need a little bit more space up there. So yeah, not absolutely in love with the upper. Great grippy outsole, which was fine for me. So yeah, good over that distance. I didn't absolutely love it every minute running in this shoe over that distance, but it is a performance shoe built for speed, and on that kind of front, it kind of does deliver.
That's it, guys. That is our kind of our race review from that 10K in the Asics Metaspeed Sky. Go and check out Mike's first run review, and we'll get you our full review as soon as we can. Tom's also running in the shoe. Hopefully Kieran's running in it as well. So we're going to have a real strong multi-tester look at this shoe and who it suits, who it doesn't suit, when it's fast, where, you know, where do we kind of rank it in the kind of pantheon of super shoes out there. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell, and so you get notified when we do our next video. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks very much. And it's going to be a race vid for the Asics Meta Racer. Nope.
Nope.
And